and welcome to the recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 10 Reunion, Part 2. And what a season it has been. Alright, we start with way too much time spent on Kyle, how she felt under attack for calling the other ladies fake-ass bitches. And I have to ask, who is faker than you, Kyle? Just a thought, you know. We go back to the little quarrel between Kyle and Dorit over Dorit's glam. Well, as I think I've made very clear, I think that Dorit's glam, I think her style and fashion choices, her makeup, her hair, everything, have been one of the stars of the season and have made the season even more interesting. So I'm going to say that Kyle probably looks at Dorit's Instagram photos, which are stunning, and just looks at Dorit in general, and I'm going to say Kyle's a little bit jelly. I think that's why she has such a problem with that. And, basically I'm just going to say pretty much everything about Kyle and her so-called problems, at least the problems that she is willing to air. They bore me. I'm not interested. I think she might have some other problems that she's never going to come out and talk about that might have to do, for example, with Mauricio, allegedly. I have no proof. But I think that she's trying so hard to play this really nice, kind of centered person, and she's so far off the mark, and people are not buying it. And her popularity has just been waning steadily because of it. She's not, look, there's a whole hashtag by Kyle, as in by Kyle. So this is not a good sign. All right. Then we also have to hear about her saying that, she's so busy. Part of the reason why she was grumpy at that time during that whole early part of the season was because she was so exhausted, because she was filming Halloween Part 56 or whatever it was, and raising a family, and pretending to have a clothing line, which, we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, no one cares, bitch. No one cares. No one feels sorry for you. No one cares. And that's on you, not us. Because you don't give us anything to care about. You don't give us anything that feels real and genuine. Some vulnerability, some cute side. You give us nothing. And so, a lot of us, consequently, don't like you. And there are groups on Instagram and Twitter that say, bye Kyle. Just saying. Okay. As whenever Dorit talks, Kyle has this smug, prissy little look on her face. It's the Kyle look, actually. It's become her go-to face when other people are talking and she's managing to shut up and not run her mouth or interrupt them. And it's kind of like, I have to just make the little point here. It's so sad that Garcelle is leaving. I mean, Garcelle and Denise are definitely leaving. And I feel like Garcelle is really the voice of reason. She really is. She is the centered, cool, down-to-earth person that you want to confide in, that you want to see more of. She's everything Kyle wishes she could be, and she will never be. Know this, Kyle. Where's this from? Know this, Kyle. You will never satisfy us. Remember that? Know this, Kyle. You will never satisfy us. Dinner party from hell? Camille's psychic friend? Okay. Alright. Oh, shut up, Teddy. She just is trying to be relevant. I feel like you're wasting space on the monitor. Your box could be taken up by someone else. Anybody. God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but even Rinna. You are the least interesting woman up there. I'm sure there are crew members that are much more interesting. Let's stick a guy with a headset on and a clipboard, and he's probably going to have more interesting things to say than you, and he's probably going to look better. I mean, not look better. You're a beautiful girl. I say that over and over again, but yeah, she has a hard time putting looks together. Her fashion sense, I'm going to say it for the 500th time. How can a beautiful girl be so dumpy? It's a mystery. Okay. So, yeah, Kyle has an excuse for everything. So far, the beginning of this part 2, a little boring. Okay. Now Kyle is expressing her dismay, her hurt, her pain, her disappointment over Dorit saying that Kyle didn't know anything about her clothing line. That she kind of just showed up at New York Fashion Week. And by the way, New York Fashion Week is a time period. Okay, so there's Bryant Square, which is the actual top shelf New York Fashion Week. But I have to tell you, so often on these shows, I see, especially on the Housewives, where they'll be walking in a show for a very minor designer. Okay, and the thing is, you can put up a tent or rent a space, and you can put on a show and say that you're part of New York Fashion Week, because technically you're having a runway show during the dates of New York Fashion Week. But that doesn't mean that there's some roster that you're going to be on the roster of, you know, these are the top designers appearing at New York Fashion Week. No, if there is such a roster, I can promise you that Kyle by Shahida is nowhere to be found. This is not the center of New York Fashion Week. This is far from Bryant Park, which is where it all happens. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I would bet money. This is not in the center of things. Not this collection, not this junk. You know, look, we all know this. I've said it before, and I can tell you what happened. Kyle wrote a check with Mauricio's funny money, allegedly. She wrote a check and she slapped her line on someone else's boring resort wear made out of, you know, weird polyester with bizarre patterns that I can't think anyone would want but like the Golden Girls. It looks like the Golden Girls take a cruise. No, it's really bad. It's horrible. That line, those clothes, not good. No. Yeah, these are horrible designs. So now I'm very disappointed because I would like Dorit, who knows fashion. She knows style. I would like Dorit to stick up for herself and say, well, you don't have to be nasty. She could just say, well, it's not my taste. The pieces are interesting, but they're not my taste. Instead, she lies and says, but I love your line, because she's, you know, Dorit, she tries to kind of be nice with everyone, although she's been very good about sticking up for, you know, Denise this season, so I'm not calling her a complete wimp by any means. I've been proud of Dorit this season. She's behaved well, I think. But I'm disappointed that she apologizes and says, you know, but you know, I'm so sorry because, you know, I love your clothes. I love your designs, she says. Number one, you don't love them. Number two, they're not Kyle's designs. Kyle had no idea what was coming out of the garment bags at that show. She was like, oh, what's this? What? No, she had no idea. She'd never seen the stuff before. Not on the computer. Maybe she had a few emails thrown at her showing this is the kind of stuff we're going to be showing. And a lot of it was dumpy resort wear, caftan-y, loose things. And you know, Kyle loves a caftan, which is one of the easiest things in the world to design. And yet her caftan line failed. Okay, yeah, so I'm disappointed in Dorit for that. I would have liked to have her say, you know, stand up for herself and say, it's not my taste. Rather than say, I love your designs. No one believes that. Okay, you know, it turns out that, I guess because of all these things, Kyle has completely frozen Dorit out. they used to always kind of contact each other and be in touch during the season and outside of the season. Maybe they weren't best friends, but they were definitely in contact. They would check out what was going on with the other, maybe a call, maybe a coffee, and apparently they are no longer speaking. Lucky Dorit. Lucky girl. Good work. Okay, and again, Dorit, don't apologize for anything. Kyle is a rat. She's an unhappy little rat. Okay, all right, now we're going to bring up the ragamuffin thing, which I barely feel like bringing up. I do think it's funny that Kyle would criticize anybody's fashion. That would be like Teddy criticizing someone's fashion. The word ragamuffin is not, I don't think it's such a horrible word either. I mean, I don't want to say I'm on Kyle's side, but there's nothing wrong with that. Denise is naturally beautiful. Well, guess what? When you're naturally beautiful, hey Kyle, you see the way you look right now with the giant hairsprayed fall and the pointy shoulders and 5 pounds of makeup. I'm not saying Denise is sitting there without makeup, but you need so much more to be able to look like this than Denise does. Denise can take tie her hair in a bun, put a pencil through it, throw on a t-shirt and a pair of ripped jeans, and she will be hotter than you will ever be. Than you ever were at any age. Even though Denise is no longer a young woman, she's still hotter than you ever were. So, okay. All right. But I have to say, I'm so really disappointed in Denise's dress. That dress just does not fit her well. The color is too strong, and it doesn't fit well. And again, her lighting, she should have had a chance to maybe look at how she appeared in the lens, because that lighting, she has horrible lighting. I mean, it just doesn't seem like a coincidence to me that everyone else has perfect, beautiful lighting, and she's lit like a deer in headlights. It's just the worst. I mean, it's like very harsh lighting that throws a lot of shadows, and it's aging, even though she's, like I said, she's beautiful, but it's bad. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think that's a coincidence. I'm starting my own little conspiracy theory here. They give the best light to the people who suck up to Andy the most. Okay. Oh Lord. Now comes Rinna time. She's been sitting there. Talk about a rat. She's been sitting there like a rat on too much coffee, waiting for her time to come. And finally she gets to start talking. So we get to see a whole montage of Rinna exploiting her children, specifically Amelia, for clout, and Amelia's anxiety and anorexia for clout, which is great. You're a great mom. We love you. We don't at all. The only one you're despised more than Kyle. There's a whole mob of people that cannot stand you. They didn't like you before this season, and now after this season, you are, I've said it before, arguably one of, or maybe the least liked housewife. And those are big words. Okay, all right. Oh, we have the horrible scene where Amelia's looking for an apartment, and she talks about all the things that she wants. Of course, now we have a montage of, and we have to talk about Lisa's, her creepy little short dancing videos in as little clothing as possible, with her, kind of skeletal body and her unfortunate movements and unfortunate facial expressions, and and then we go back to the scene where Garcelle asks her in Rome, do you think that maybe you're dancing like that, kind of, half naked on Instagram or TikTok, is affecting Amelia, because she sees how skinny you are and maybe she feels like she has to live up to that standard. Then the whole, oh God, I thought it was so nasty when after Garcelle said that, Lisa had to bring out Amelia, stick her in front of the cameras again, because Amelia's just a prop child. She's just there for clout. So she brings prop child out in front of the camera and says, well, Garcelle said that my dancing was causing your problems. What do you think of that? And then, of course, you know, she has coached Amelia what to say. So Amelia's like, I think she should F off. I think it's none of her business. Of course, we have to see that again. Sutton thinks Rinna's dancing is weird. I'm pretty sure everybody thinks Rinna's dancing is weird. I can't believe anyone's looking at it and saying, this is so beautiful or so hot. But you know what? There's all kinds of tastes in the world, so I'm sure she gets a good number of likes. I don't know. I've never looked at them. I don't think I could stand it. It's bad enough the few seconds that I have to see on the show. So I'm certainly not going to go seek out these dance videos. What I have seen I find actually like just disturbing. That's the word for it, disturbing. Okay, and Rinna says, you know, it's weird. I know, I own it. It's weird, I own it. I own it. And then when Andy makes a comment about Amelia's apartment costing $5,700 a month, Lisa Rinna now says, oh no, she's paying for all of it. She's paying for all of it. She's an amazing model. She's making more money than any of us. Well, I knew that wasn't true. So I did a little research. I went on to some websites that I know kind of basically track all the latest jobs or the jobs over the last year of certain models. And they show you what agency they're with, and they show you any covers they've had, and they show you any editorial. That's the part, you know, inside the heart of the magazine where they have like a spread on summer dresses or something like that. And, you know, now, granted, no shame on Amelia, and it could very well be because she's had all these emotional problems and because she's had an eating disorder or eating disorders. But I can tell you that her career is very, very minimal. She has no covers, or if she does have a cover, it's like Encino Gardening Monthly. I don't know. It's like a really obscure. She has no major covers. And it doesn't have to be a major cover like Vogue. It could be, you know, like Egyptian Bazaar. It could be anything, but something that's a kind of a, at least on a national level, like a big fashion magazine in India, or a big fashion magazine in Australia or South Africa. Actually, Australia is a huge market. India is a huge market. But anyway, she has no covers. She had two editorials that editorial photo shoots that I saw where she was in one or two pictures. One was in Vogue Taiwan, and the other one was in, she had a few shots inside the editorial pages in W, which is huge. You know, W is a huge, comes from, you know, Women's Wear Daily, that's big. But it was just a few. Well, I saw actually one photo. Maybe there were a handful that they had a little editorial section that she was in with another girl. Okay, so that's, you know, great, but I mean, you can't be a model. You can't build a major career on getting maybe one kind of nice thing every 6 months. On the same site, models.com, it's models.com, look up Gigi Hadid, look up Bella Hadid, and it's like cover, Vogue Bazaar L from every country in the world, you know, just like everything. And then, you know, covers and massive, you know, 8-page pictorials inside of fashion, you know, just, and interviews, and just huge. You know, look, you just drive around, ever since Gigi and Bella first came out, Miami's a very fashion-forward city. We have a design district. We have several shopping areas where all the high-end designers are. And I can tell you who's big by who's on the billboards. And either Gigi or Bella, or sometimes both, is always on a huge billboard on the side of the freeway for something. Starting out back in the beginning when Gigi was doing Guess. But now it's like they're all over the place. They're huge. Why? Because you don't become a model just because your parents are famous. That might get you a cover or two. That might get you into an agency. It might help get you into a good agency because they think, okay, well, maybe people will want to book you because of who you are. But the fact is, actually building a career for yourself as a model, you have to know how to pose. You have to know how to walk. You have to know how to interview. There's so many things involved, and that is why time and time again you will find there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of girls over the last decades that have been stunning, 5'11", perfectly tiny, absolutely gorgeous faces, beautiful hair, everything that you would think they would need, and they haven't made it. Why? Because there's only room at the top for a very, very small number of girls. And those girls have to be exceptional. And it just happens that Gigi and Bella are exceptional. Faces, bodies, posing, runway, everything. And they've got like light behind their eyes. You got to have this kind of light behind your eyes. So, yeah. Anyway, so I just want to say, Lisa Rinna, you lie like a rug. That is absolute nonsense. You guys are paying for that apartment. Or maybe she has a part-time job or something, but no way is your daughter making bank as a model. If she is, there's certainly no evidence out there. Okay. All right. We're not going to talk about Rinna's bunny baby gift that has now become some kind of, supposed to be like an inside joke. Haha, I don't care. There's a little bit of Andy sucking up to Rinna, and Rinna sucking back up to Andy, which explains how she's in this position of power. More Teddy. We're just gonna swipe past that whole section because I'm not gonna talk about it. Because if I talk about it, I will fall asleep, and then I'll be groggy once I wake up again for the rest of this video. And I need to be at 11 for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, I need to be at an 11 for you. So, okay. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Here comes Rinna, the psycho, the boa constrictor, trying to swallow Denise again. She starts to bring up the, what about the friendship between you and Denise? We're going to start all that again. Okay. Now, that then leads us to a montage of Brandi retelling all of her crappy stories about her alleged relationship with Denise and the dinner in Rome and all these excruciating things that we don't need to see again. It was enough to go through it once. We don't need to see it again. And then a montage of all the bitches willing to believe anything that Brandi says and absolutely nothing that Denise says. Then we've got to bring up again, what about those text strings? You guys clearly had a close relationship for years. Okay. All right. I'm sorry I need to bring this up again, but apparently I do. I don't think for you guys. I mean, our little tribe, I think you guys are cool, but I just kind of want to put it out there again on YouTube because a whole lot of people seem to be falling for that. Okay. Let's talk again about the alleged, long text strings of this close relationship between Brandi and Denise. Well, Denise said one thing very interesting. She said, you know what, for every 10 texts she would send me, I would write back, have a nice day. I mean, I totally know what that's like. I've had relationships like that where people kind of have a crush on you and they're sending you all these texts or and it's just kind of like, yeah, and you want to be nice. You want to be friendly with the person. Being friendly with someone does not mean being friends with someone, and that's what they're so caught up on. Okay, Rinna's like, Denise, you can't keep lying. You can't keep lying. And then again, they show us how at BravoCon, in the public eye, with everyone watching, the interviewer asks Denise, are you still friendly with Brandi? And she says, yeah, she's a cool girl. We're friends. Do you not know how Hollywood works? Have you not heard about Hollywood fakeness? And the fact that, have you ever worked with, whoever? Have you ever worked with Kate Blanchett? Oh, I haven't, but you know what? I've met her a couple times and she's lovely. I really like her. We really get along. That doesn't mean anything. It's called it's called Hollywood fakeness, and everyone's guilty of it. You don't want to be in front of a group of people and sound like a bitch by saying, you know what, frankly, yeah, I am familiar, I am aware of Brandi because she's like really kind of a psycho, and I like to keep a little bit of distance between us. She's not going to say that at BravoCon. That's not why she's there. That's not why she's paid to be there. No. Okay. And then finally, go to this one, go on the App Store, and this is just one of many. Fake chat maker. Type in fake chat maker. And there's another one too that I actually don't have written down here that was even better. That was the one I used to make the fake text string between Denise and I and telling me my husband was hot. But there are several of these. And remember, I told you, you can add their names, you can add thumbnails of them, you can put dates and times of day. They look so real. I never did it before this, but I found the app because I knew they existed, and I made that fake text string, and go on it and you'll see how easy it is. Would it take a whole lot of time for Brandi to come up with, all these texts? Yeah, I mean, I think that probably, notice how there's nothing on there. They never show. Do you realize that if there was something incriminating that Denise said back to Brandi in that text string, like, oh, Brandi, you're so hot, I can't wait to see you again, they would have blown it up and highlighted it. That's what they do. All they showed was that there were these texts back and forth, little texts back and forth between Brandi and Denise. So that could be a case of just, Brandi texting her all the time and Denise occasionally answering back like, hey girlie, hey pretty lady, whatever, because that's how you do it. You don't want to alienate everybody, and, I don't know, God, if I were Denise, I'd be afraid of Brandi. I wouldn't want to get on her wrong side because she's crazy. So it could be the fake chat maker, but now I'm thinking it's more likely that it was just kind of a one-sided friendship where Brandi thought they were close and Denise did not. Does that mean that there's no possibility that something happened? I'm not saying there's no possibility, but I just can see so many scenarios where you would not ever, under any circumstances, automatically believe Brandi Glanville. No. So, we're kind of wondering, like, why isn't Brandi invited to the reunion? And Andy says it's because she said, I blanked her blank, which was filthy. Probably more filthy than you're thinking. The word you're thinking, replace it with another filthier word. That even disgusted Andy, and he was like, no, you're not coming on the reunion. We don't need more of that. No, they got a lot of complaints. She's too much of a firecracker, and no, they're like, no, we don't want her. We don't want her. Okay, so I was thinking, well, if she really has been invited back next season, you would think for sure they would stick her on the reunion. I said to myself. So then again, I went back into searching on the internet, looking for everything I could find about, Brandi being on Real Housewives next season. Okay, I overstated it. She sent out a tweet saying, looks like I have a diamond, or something like words to that effect. But that's Brandi. Nobody else has confirmed it. There hasn't been anything else about it. And I went back, 6 weeks, nothing. Bravo confirms. Also, they don't hire this far in advance, usually. What you get at this time, because they'll start filming again in a few months, you get hints. Like, we have hints about New York. We have some interesting hints about some people that might be coming on New York. But it's just hints. Okay? Now, if someone's fired, yeah, that you would know. Like, Dorinda really was fired. That's not just a rumor. But in this case, I think Brandi might be full of it, and fingers crossed, she might not be back. They might realize that the backlash against her has been so strong. Believe me, they're aware of everything going on social media, and people despise Brandi. She's not even entertaining because now she's just falling over drunk or screaming obscenities. That's not fun. That's not entertaining. You know, old mouthy Brandi was one thing. This is a completely different, extremely broken person. And this is not, again, in any way, shape, or form entertainment. Okay, so do I know for absolute sure that Brandi is not coming back on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? No, I do not. But I don't have any evidence that she is, other than something from Brandi herself. And I think we've all learned that something that Brandi says doesn't carry a lot of weight. And even what she said was a little cryptic. It wasn't like, well, I'm definitely back on the, you know, holding her contract in her hand, I'm definitely back on the next season of Real Housewives. She didn't even say anything like that. It was more like, well, looks like someone's got a diamond. You know, so I'm everybody together, send out your collective positive energy out into the universe so that Brandi does not come back. Because with Denise and Garcelle definitely being out of the show, definitely, you know, basically quitting, we can't handle Denise and Garcelle, especially the voice of reason, Garcelle. We cannot handle her being gone and Brandi on the show. It's too much. It's too much. Okay, and then one last thing, we have to attack the ladies have to attack Denise. Well, the witches have to attack Denise for talking shit behind the other ladies' back, like what she said about Teddy, what she said about Erica. You all talk shit behind each other's backs. It's a staple of the Housewives franchise. There would be no show without backbiting. It wouldn't exist. It would cease to exist. So don't be ridiculous. And then, you know, Lisa has to chime in at the end. You know, the cover-up is worse than the crime. Thank you, most hated woman on Bravo. And with that, we're going to wrap this up. This was a very strange second part, but it did kind of ring some bells in my head. And again, it allowed me to confirm that Lisa Rinna is a liar, saying that her daughter makes more money than anyone in the group and that she's such a super successful model. You're a liar. You know, the cover-up is worse than the crime. And also it allowed me to realize that Brandi is not, in fact, definitely back on the show. So it certainly made me happy. The show itself did not do that, but it triggered something in my mind that was like, you know what, why am I going off this one reference from Brandi? And then I started looking it up and I'm like, aha. So thank you so much for joining me. Remember that there are 3 YouTube channels. We have Real Housewives TEA and Shade for all things Housewives. We have Intelligent Reality Recaps, which is both Housewives and all things 90 Day Fiancé. And finally, we have 90 Day Fiancé Let's Judge, which is just everything in the 90 Day universe, including Darcy and Stacey. And I do want to remind you that even if you don't like 90 Day Fiancé, Darcy and Stacey are definitely worth checking out. Are they messes? Absolutely. But there's something about the dynamic of the family that is kind of oddly, I don't know, I want to say heartwarming. So, and it's interesting, and there is humor in it, and some very strange Eastern European men. You have to be willing to put up with some very peculiar Eastern European men, which is kind of like, that's their bag, baby, is Eastern European manly men. So give it a chance. You know, watch 15 minutes of my recap and see if it sounds funny to you, and then check out the show. It's a good way to do it, because you can see if it's something that, you know, looks like it would appeal to you or not. Instagram, I do my little 1-minute previews of the recaps that are coming up, just basically the little clip, and that is on Real Housewives TEA and Shade, and 90 Day Fiancé Let's Judge. Okay, and I'm going to be creating original content for Instagram once things slow down a little bit. Again, I love it that you're here. I love it that you're sharing this whole thing with me. I appreciate you so much. Please like, comment, love your comments, love your comments. I actually have a lot of people to welcome to the group, so I'm going to have to do that on the next one because I really appreciate my new commenters and subscribers. I'm going to, I've thanked you on the comments, but I'm going to make sure and give all your names on the show. And also, if you haven't already, please remember to press that red subscribe button, ring the little bell so that you get notified whenever I have new content coming up. I do make content frequently. So I want you to take really good care of yourself. I want you to be good, but not too good.